Okay, I think I'm live. Am I live? Hello? Yeah, sorry. It's saying I've got poor connection, but the Wi-Fi is there. Let's just see. No one seems to be here, so something's gone a little bit. Oh, okay. I have someone here. Yay! Hi, everyone. Sorry, that was really strange. It said that I couldn't connect for ages, but okay, let's invite the lovely Melissa. Hello, everyone. Okay, so hopefully it will all go really well now, and Melissa will join us in just a minute. Yay!
Hello! I couldn't connect at all
Hi!
either, like to start. So I think that's why
Yeah,
people are having problems. Is Instagram's
I
having a
know, it
little
just
bit of a
kind of
hangover.
paused. Oh, yeah, exactly. Poor Instagram's had a heavy night. How are you doing?
Yeah, really good.
You had
Yeah.
a party last night as well, didn't you?
Yeah, straight. It was actually my mother-in-law's 80th birthday party, and you think, oh, that'd be pretty kind of like
Ah,
sedate. And there were like two distinct camps, like all of like the grandkids who were kind of like a weird in-between generational thing, like our age, because my husband was like the youngest of a Catholic family, Irish family. So, um, all the grandkids were like inside listening to like Ed Sheeran and things, and like all the kind of oldies were outside like in like this outdoor room listening to like the 50s and 60s music, and I was
oh,
like,
I love
I'm in
it. Which way
between.
did you go?
Oh, we stayed outside just mostly for
Nice.
COVID reasons, but yeah.
Yeah, of course, of course. And the music sounds a lot better.
Strangely, actually, like because like I don't know, my knowledge of like 1980s music is really bad because when I was a kid growing up, my mom only listened to the oldies station, which was like 1950s and 60s music. So I knew all the words to the
Amazing.
old people's music, but I was like, new stuff, no. They just were playing
Oh,
my
that
new stuff.
what stuff?
They just weren't playing my new music. They were playing new
Oh
music, but it
yeah.
just wasn't mine.
Yeah, I totally get it. I totally understand. Oh, well, it's so good to see you, Melissa. It's been so
Hey,
long.
I
Virtual hug.
know. I was thinking about this. I think when I came to yours to record the Stitcher's Brew podcast, it was like, was it 4 years ago?
Yeah, it would
Olivia
have been
was only a baby.
2018. Yes, yeah, Elimi was a baby. I remember us kind of passing him round, didn't we, for cuddles? And now he's so grown up. And yeah,
Oh,
oh, it's really weird thinking back to that time and everything. And now, being by myself in here, it's very, very different. But it's so, so lovely to get a chance to catch up with all the people I've missed and, hearing all their news. So this is why
yeah.
you're here.
Especially because like I don't, I've been shielding for like 2 years and nothing's really changed. So I don't get to go out to all the sewing parties and meetups and see people again. I'm just stuck at home.
Yeah. Well, I have to say, I mean, so last night was the new Craft House party, and I probably could have gone, but I'm just not there yet, personally. I'm just, a room full
Yeah.
of people is still a bit scary for me. So,
Yeah,
we
I'm
have
I'm with
our
you.
own health issues that make that even scarier, I think. But yeah, I'm impressed that people are there, but I'm not.
Yeah, me neither. Which makes me even like more grateful for things like the Sewing Weekender that are online now
Yes,
and they're staying
yeah,
online. And I'm like, yes, thank you. I can
yeah,
still
me too.
participate.
Yeah, no, I think I'm really pleased that they're doing another year of online because honestly, the amount of people that can get involved compared to a live event, it's
Yeah.
it's crazy, and it's so lovely to have everyone around the world involved with it. So, yeah, I'm really pleased about that. So, what's new with Melissa? What have you been
What's
up
new?
to?
Got like pattern releases. Oh my God. Okay,
Yes.
so like I I use the royal we on the Instagram because it's like the business speaking, but like it's just me and I have like
Yeah.
I say office job, but I've been working from home for the last 2 years. But I have an office job, so like I'm doing this one person part-time, and like the amount of time that content creation for like blog and social media take up is astounding. So it's
Yeah.
like some weeks it's like more time spent doing that stuff than it is on actual pattern development. So it
Mm.
takes me a long time to get patterns out. And I always have this like I'm always comparing myself to like other pattern companies. I'm like, they're putting one out like every 2 months. I'm like, wait, Melissa, they have like a full studio, they have employees, they're doing this full time. I'm like, okay, fine. Anyway, I got a new
It's
pattern
true.
out.
It's
I'm
true.
actually wearing it. Yay! It's hard to see on this
Hey, go on.
one. So
What's it
it's the
called? Plug away.
it's called the Versatilla Tops. So it's actually got
Oh,
two versions. It's got the Versatilla Tank and the Versatility. See
I
where we're going
love
with this
it.
now. But it's hard to see on the one I'm wearing. But like I've got a little mini me here that might. Oh, she's under my serger. Right. Okay. She might illustrate this a little bit better. So this is like this. This is the T
Oh, I
version, but just
love the
without the
mini
sleeves.
version.
So this is her, but like when you roll around, so there's no side seams, and then it just goes to a back panel.
Oh,
So
amazing. Is this
that's the
what you
whole
use
tea.
when you do your tutorials then?
Oh, I
The
don't
mini
really do
version?
tutorials. That is way too much content work. I
But
kind of
I mean,
like my
you have done that.
yeah in the past, and like I will say that like my whole ethos on that is I don't do sew alongs either. Sorry, she's fighting with the overlocker here. Get back in there,
So
you
I
little.
just, first of all, I have to quickly interject and say hello to my neighbour because she's just joined and she's like a few windows away. So I'm just waving to her in real
That's
life.
amazing.
Hi, Norma.
No, no, like on tutorials, like my whole ethos is like the sewing instructions should be good enough that you don't need to have a sew along. Like
Oh,
they
absolutely.
they should speak for themselves. So like I make sure that the illustrations are super clear. Like I have tons of testers that go through and actually test the pattern, not just like, hey, it's a marketing exercise for 1,000 people to show the photos online. It's like, no, I do it from like a software background. So yeah, someone said about the back panel is mesh. Yeah, I actually did a
Yes.
sample. If you go to my feed, I've got one I did a tank in black merino jersey and then black mesh for the back, so you can like show off a nice sports bra. But yeah, you can do that with the t-shirt version as well. It's just this one's just in bamboo and it's just all one color and it's nice and cozy for a Sunday morning.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
gorgeous. I mean, I absolutely love your patterns, and I completely agree that your instructions are so good that you don't need
Thank
tutorials. I
you.
completely agree, and I think actually that is the way forward because it's kind of tough when you get to a point where you're reading and you're like, I still don't get it,
I know,
and
because
then
I
you have to
sew.
go online and tutorials, and before you know it, you're like, oh, it's midnight and I didn't sew a stitch.
Time suck of like, oh, that and then distraction and then
Yeah,
that. Yeah,
yeah,
so I mean
exactly.
I put tons of effort and I do all the illustrations myself as well, and I must say that like I've been doing, so my first patterns came out in at the very end of 2013, so it's like 8.5 years now I've been doing this gig. And like I think the thing that I've upskilled most in, like I've obviously learned a lot through like every single one, but I think the one area I've upskilled the most in is definitely like illustrations. Because I look back on
Hmm.
like I've gone back and updated my earlier patterns because I was just like, oh, that's shonky. There's no way. No, not that. But working behind the scenes on the sewing bee was actually like the big transformational moment because I had to do the illustrations for like the pattern challenge for the first thing that they do in each episode. This was years ago. I don't do it anymore. But like having a team of people be like, what is going on with that drawing? No, do it again. Whereas if it was my own, I'd be like, yeah, it's fine. Until my testers would tell me later. But like, having that kind of accountability of like, no, go back and
Yes.
redo it, like really upped my game on the illustration front. And now it's like, God, I used to only be able to do like, I don't know, maybe 3 illustrations for like 3 steps of a pattern a day. And now I can crank out about 10. Like it's just so much
Oh
faster.
yes.
And
On
I just think
fire,
that's so much,
Melissa.
I know. I just think that's like so much clearer than a photo where you're like, what side is that? Is that the wrong side of
Yeah.
the front? Is that the right? And then you're like, the lighting's weird. And it's just like, I've got a little sewing room. I haven't got like the studio cutting space to do like overhead video and like bright lights and stuff.
And
No.
also that whole setup takes a really long time and you can get to the end of it and be like, oh, I'm not happy with it. And yeah, so it's really good
Oh,
to be
like
able to actually use your hands and create what you want to create. That's really good.
or like if
So
you
I think we
change
should,
something as well, you'd have to
yeah,
photo all of them all over again. It's like, oh.
exactly. So I think we're going to have to backtrack a bit. And I would love, I know that I know this and we've done it in the podcast as well, but just a little like short version of how you got into what you do and sewing activewear and where, how your path led you to
Uh, yeah, it's like how far back do I go? Like I did all the kind of usual for America in the 80s, I guess anyways, like, I had home ec class and my mom sewed and I like dabbled a little bit and then I didn't really get into sewing massively until I moved to the UK 20 years ago. Oh God, it was actually 20 years ago as of February.
Oh,
Um,
amazing.
yeah, so then I started like, but like there was no real sewing internet then. It was like craftster.org was like the only forum, and pattern review's like been there
Yes, pattern
forever.
review.
And that was
Yeah.
it. There, like literally this was before YouTube existed, like let alone Instagram and Twitter. Like I was sewing before all this, so I kind of like taught myself. And there's some horrors, like my blog actually goes back that far, so if you want to like really dig into some really bad stuff, that's there. So like, yeah, kind of doing all that thing. And then you know, I started running and sewing at about the same time, like 20 years ago. And especially like I got fast forward to about like, yeah, 2013, I was like in a tech job that I'd had for 12 years, and they made me redundant with like a week's notice, and it was
Oh
shocking. I had to take
no.
them to court to get my government owed redundancy money for that amount of time. So it was awful. And by that point, I was like, I was already making like my own activewear and like changing it up, because like the patterns at the time, they were very kind of like, here's a legging, and there was like no pockets, no nice design lines. There was not, they were very basic. So I was like basically making my own, because that was what I wanted. I wanted to exercise with like, so I would figure out basically through trial and error, like, oh, pockets don't really work there, but they work here. Because there's no books that teach you like how to draft this stuff
Yeah.
for movement. It's just like, oh, here's fit if you're standing straight with your arms down at your side, and there's nothing about like, okay, if you're cycling, do that. So yeah, so I started doing all of my own stuff there. And then when I was made redundant, I was like, what do I want to do? Do I want to go get another tech job? Do I want to like go back to school, do something else? And I was like, well, why don't I try like sewing business for a little while? Because I know I'm not going to screw me over. So I'll be my own boss for a while. So I did that for like a year or two. And then like another tech job came my way, and then I would do sewing like at part-time. And then I quit that job. And then like immediately after this other job, I left. Like within 2 weeks, I got an email from Threads magazine saying, hey, would you like to write an expert activewear article for us? I was like, oh, yeah,
So
I
good.
would. And in the same time, I got a publisher out of the blue emailing me going, hey, would you like to write an activewear sewing book? And I was like, what is happening in the universe right now?
That's a
So
good
then it was
week.
like, yeah, it was great. So then I was like, I guess I'm not gonna like go look for another tech job right now. I guess I'm gonna do sewing for a while. So then, yeah, it was like, pretty intensive. Like writing the book was like a definitely full-time job for 4 months. It was really intensive. And then it was always going to be, it was funny, the deadline for Sew Your Own Activewear, as it turned out to be, was the day after London Marathon. And I was like, this is
Oh,
perfection. Because I was already running London Marathon, and I was like, I can do it in something from the book. By that point, everything's already done. The writing's done, the illustrations are done, the patterns are done, all of the samples. I had to sew up all of the samples for the athlete models that were going to appear in the book. All that stuff was done. And I was like, I can just like run, and it's going to be like everything's done and I'm free, rather than like if the deadline was the week after, I would have been stressing about everything I would have had to do. It would have been a horrible run, but no, it was great.
oh,
Yeah,
that's
so
so perfect.
yeah, so I think now I've got something like 16 or 17. They're all activewear patterns. Some for women, some for men. I've got some freebies on the site. Last year, so actually, if you wanna, this is the crotch behind me. She's only got one leg, so I call her
The
Eileen.
crop.
But normally, like, yeah, she's just a little crotch. But this is our Tenacity Leggings, which is a beginner pattern, released last October, I think I want to say. I mean, this version has got like a mesh pocket that goes the whole way around, so you can stash all sorts of stuff in it. And there's
Oh, that's brilliant.
no outer seam, and there's like a crotch gusset optional thing in there and stuff. But yeah, when I released that, I realized that we didn't have, like, there was a hole, because I had a lot of patterns for like intermediate and advanced beginner, but there was nothing really any beginner patterns. So when we released the Tenacity Leggings, there was like so much extra information that I wanted to add in that I didn't have space for in Sew Your Own Activewear, which I did with the publisher. So because it's a print book, they're like, you're really tight on like the number
Of
of
course.
pages you're allowed. Yeah. So I was like, actually, there's so much more information I want to share, especially for beginners, like stuff I learned the hard way. So I actually wrote an ebook to coincide with the release of this called Activewear Sewing for Beginners. And oh my God, I was not prepared for the amount of work that goes into writing a book when it's just you. So like,
Mm.
you know, I just said all the amount of stuff that I had to do for the due date for the book I was doing with the big publisher. But like, you know, they did all the layouts. They had a photographer come and take it. They had like someone a stylist to like do the shoot and like go, okay, you go there and let's go all these shots and stuff. And they played it all out. Like I had to do all that, and I was like, oh my God, I had to get like a light box to take all these photos, and the first set were all bad. I actually bought online, you can buy like templates for books that just make it easier. It just looks really nice, and you can just like mix and match them. So I did all that. So yeah, so I've got an ebook as well, in addition to like the big book. And yeah, so like this is a beginner, the versatility is, and versatility tank are also beginner patterns. So it kind of, now I've got a top and a bottom for beginners. They can like kind of go to it. And they're like interesting enough designs so that someone who's more advanced isn't getting super bored either. Like I always want to give something different in each pattern, because I'm like, what's the point of releasing like just a t-shirt pattern? Like I just don't see the point. I would be so bored. Like the amount of work that goes into a pattern, I would be so bored. Like, and like the world doesn't need yet another t-shirt pattern that's just a boring t-shirt. So that's why I'm like, okay, mix it up. Like there's an actual need there, especially like if you're running or doing an activity that has loads of like repetitive arm movement, you can get chafing under the arm. So that's why there's no side seam on these, because you know, that's a problem I've actually had. So kind of shift it around to the back and have a nice little focus on that. Yeah.
I love that though. I love that because you're such an active person yourself, and oh my God, you're amazing.
Sorry, don't follow me on Strava. You'll hate it.
Opposite. I'm so the opposite. But my brother's just joined. Actually, he's in Liège, not something. Doing a cycling thing. So he was like, "I'll join in with the cycling chat."
Yes. Actually, no. So
I'm
was it Brother Dashery? What should I call him? Brother Dashery.
Look, there he is. He says, "Love the podcast, listening all the way back from Belgium." Oh, that's really sweet.
Well, I'm doing Ride 100, which is not at like Box Hill in Surrey anymore. It's going to be in Essex this year for the first time. So I'm doing the new course at the end of May. Totally
there
not
you go,
breaking.
Larry. Join them.
Yeah. Totally not breaking the fact that I've only ever done turbo trainer rides now for like the past 2 years, and I haven't done anything outside apart from like poodling across London for a hospital appointment back. Like, so yeah, I think I'm gonna have to do at least one long ride outside with some mates before I tackle a 100-miler again.
Oh well, I love the fact that you can do it online and you know, virtually as well. That's brilliant, because you know, it keeps it all going, and no one had
my gosh,
that. You know, when people were like hiding in the Second World War, they couldn't do that. So we were very lucky to have all those things, weren't we?
Oh my gosh,
not that I'm comparing it, by the way. I don't want people to think I'm comparing it to that. But yeah, it's nice that you've hijacked the podcast with cycling. Yeah,
it always comes back to running or cycling with me.
But yeah, I just wanted to say that because you know it so well, you're always coming up with patterns that people need, which is so brilliant, because I think there are, you know, especially some of the big four patterns, it's like, well, you know, that has happened before. People don't really need that. Whereas you're like, right, I have nowhere to put my phone in this. I've got to work out, you know, all these things. And it's brilliant because every time you bring out a new pattern, I always see a comment of someone going, that's exactly what I need right now. And that's so cool.
Yeah. I think it's also like, I think a lot of the things to do with like the opportunities that I've had, you know, with like I said, like magazines and publishers getting in touch is because I've really stuck to that particular niche. Like I sew everything. Like I've sewn everything from like jeans to my wedding gown. Like I can sew. I can do patterns for dresses if I wanted to, but it would like, without sounding like too marketing poncy, like it would dilute the brand. And I think most of the opportunities I've had be like, oh, we need someone who's activewear focused. Oh, that's her. But it, like, if I would release a dress pattern, it'd be just confusing.
Yeah,
and
I
think,
totally
like,
get that. That was the question for me. Like, did you ever think about going elsewhere? But it would water it down, wouldn't it? Totally.
Yeah, and I think that's part of the problem. Like, especially like the last few years, there's been an explosion in the number of indie pattern companies. But like, I kind of feel like you need to have a niche or like some sort of speciality there, or you're just going to get drowned out by, I don't know. Like, there's also some times where I follow a pattern company from somebody else's post, and I'm like, oh, they seem cool. I've never heard of them before, and they've got like 30,000 followers. I was like, how does that happen? How is the sewing community so big now that somebody like with that kind of reach, like I've never even heard of them?
Yeah, no, it is.
It blows my mind.
I'm always like, oh, I haven't heard this person, and then I think the sewing community is absolutely booming. It's so big, and it's like all over the world, all sorts of different people, and they all have their own things that they want from it as well. So I think everyone actually does have their place, because the people that want activewear, they know to go to Fehr Trade. They just know. And anyone that asks, there's always people going, anyone know where I can get a top? And actually, I did it stupidly without even thinking. I was like, I'm cycling now. Where should I make some sewing? And everyone wrote back going, Fehr Trade. And I was like, duh, of course Fehr Trade. I don't know why I asked the question, but it's so true that it's really lovely to have that one thing that everyone's like, of course you go to them. And no one can touch that. So no one else start activewear people.
Well, others have tried, but then, I get my heavies to rough them up, and I'm like, no, there's only space for one activewear company in the sewing internet. No,
we'll bring the girls around.
I think actually people are surprised, because, like, I love Jali patterns. Like, I think they're great.
Yeah.
I make their stuff. Like, and I also, like, I don't see the point of, like, I've had loads of people be like, could you make a sports bra pattern? And I'm like, there's a perfectly good one. Like, they make one. It's great. I don't see the point of me making one if I've got nothing new to add to the table. Like,
yeah, and that's really good. And it means that you're always pushing yourself creatively and, doing different things. So what is next? Have you got another book in the pipeline or anything?
No, I'm kind of still exhausted by the ebook, to be perfectly honest. I do have another. It was weird during the pandemic, especially for like all of 2020 and like half of 2021. I had no creativity. I'm like, respect to people still pushing out patterns during that, but I just had zero kind of creative energy whatsoever. So I took that time to like go back and update all of our old patterns. So I redrafted the PB Jam leggings, which were they were with the XYT workout top, the very first pattern I ever released. So I changed the fit and like improved the pattern with that. And I redrafted the duathlon shorts because they've got like a stripe down the side that has a pocket. And I'm not even joking, phones have gotten twice as big since I released that pattern in 2014. So I was like, okay, like that pocket definitely doesn't fit a modern phone anymore. So I had to redraft everything to make that bigger. So I updated those. I added layered patterns to all of the older patterns. I added projector versions for all of the patterns as well now. So I took that time, even though I didn't have any creativity, to like still update everything and like keep it kind of fresh and still releasing updates rather than new patterns. And then there was like this point in 2021 where I just had this explosion of ideas, and all at the same time. I had the Tenacity leggings. I actually had the versatility tops I've been working on for over a year. I actually was running last summer in early versions of this.
Oh, wow.
And a third pattern as well, which I'm not going to talk about right now because that's going to be the next one. But again, this next one is definitely an advanced pattern. It's quite niche. But it's one that loads of people have been actually really asking me for. So I got quite a long way down through the pattern development. I didn't get to the point where it was graded or anything like that, but I got quite a long way down through the pattern development, and I was like, whoa, this is like too much for like a comeback pattern. I need some easier ones to kind of ease people back into this and ease me back into this. So I parked it for a little while, did these two beginner patterns, and now it's like I'm feeling the advanced niche pattern now. I'm like, can I do it for summer?
Yeah. Amazing. So is that the plan, to get it out for summer?
Maybe.
It doesn't matter if it's not.
It takes so long to like. I was talking someone through on Friday who wanted to take their kind of just paper patterns and know about like digitizing so that they could put it out to the internet and share them as free patterns and stuff. So I was kind of talking her through like the process of like, okay, here's all the things you have to consider. Like, here's how you do the lines. Here's how you do the layers. Here's how you do here's how you measure in Illustrator. Like, it's really not, you have to do about 3 hidden things. Here's how you add seam allowances, all this stuff. And as I was talking her through this, I was like, yeah, I remember now, like, how much time it takes just to get a pattern, like, from the grader to ready to even send out to testers. Like, it's so much work involved. So, I'm only doing this really 1 day a week in amongst all the content creation and, like, receipts and businessy crap that I hate doing. So yeah, it takes me a long time to actually get it. So I'll be like, I'm nearly there, and it's still like 3 months before release. So
Oh
I don't know.
yeah, I mean that's totally understandable, and you are doing it all by yourself, and you've got another job, so take your
Yeah.
time, have a nice,
No, it
you
needs to
know.
be summer. I put these rules on myself. Yeah, the only thing the only thing I get someone else to do is the actual grading of it, because I've got a lady I've
Yeah.
used she's actually in Brooklyn, but I've used her since about 2014, and she has all the industry software. And because my designs, like, I can grade, I've done it before if they're like very standard to the examples in the books, but like mine are like 3D wraparound things and I'm like, oh, I could never do
Mm.
that. So yeah, she has all the good software. That's the only bit that I like farm out to someone else, just because like the sheer time it would take for me to do that, and I would probably get it wrong. Whereas yeah, give it to the expert for that one. And then yeah, I do
Yeah.
literally everything else.
Wow, I didn't know
Yeah.
that actually. I assumed that, you know, you did the kind of original draft, and then there was a team, and
Yeah.
so that's amazing. That's so
Yeah, so I mean,
incredible.
all the drafting, like the reason why, like especially like the complicated next one is taking so long is because I've probably already done 4 like test fit samples, whatever you want to call them, and taken them to for exercising. I've done at least 4 already,
Yeah.
and I'm not happy with it yet. So like I really will take these. I'll do them on the turbo trainer to try it for cycling. I'll take it out running or on the treadmill, because I've got all the indoor kit now because of the pandemic. So I could literally test everything, even if it's like half done. I can do it in the privacy of the boat now. But yeah, so I test all of those myself before I even send it out to the grader. And then if you're not aware, like anyone else on the call who isn't aware, a grader basically takes the pattern that's you've done for one size for like your fit sample, and then puts it out to all the other sizes. So it's actually a science, because like if you think about your shoulders, they're not going to change too much between like the smallest size and the biggest size, but like the hips and the waist would change like a lot
Mm.
between the smallest size and the biggest size. So it's kind of like how much that changes is an actual science involved. So yeah,
Yeah, it's a
that's
total
grading.
science. Yeah, it's amazing. And yeah, I mean, we're already out of time. I can't believe it. It happened so quickly. I know. Yeah, every time I'm like, how? But is there anything else you'd like to kind of plug or talk about, or, you know?
I'll think of it as soon as we're done.
Yeah,
That's normally what
of course,
happens. But
of
oh yeah,
course.
I've got a pattern sale right now. So until the end of
Oh,
April,
brilliant.
if you go to my feed, give me a follow while you're there, maybe.
Yes,
I've got
please.
yeah, coupon code there for 20% off all of the sewing patterns. So not just the new ones, but if you're getting the new top, might as well get a new bottom to go with it. That's how it usually
Yes.
works. And also there's menswear patterns there too. So I've got leggings and shorts, and actually a cycling slash kind of running top that works for men also. So yeah, and
And to
I
my
think
brother, yes, I will make you one.
yeah, don't send him photos of like all the cycling kits I've made, or else you're
I
like
know.
really in. Because I have a women's cycling shorts pattern with the bib shorts that I
They're
love for long
brilliant.
distance cycling. Um, yeah, not drafted for men though. But you can actually take the men's legging pattern and graft the bib short bit on top of it. It does work.
Yeah, you said deal. Well, I mean, that's a really big sale as well. So everyone, 20% off, yeah, all of your patterns.
Oh, thank you,
So
Alison.
I will make sure I share that as well, because that's really, really good.
Yeah, I
And
don't
it's
do
a
sales very
really good
often
time to get
either.
into it. Yeah, yeah,
Spring is the
the
best time to start exercise.
yes,
None of this like 1st of
definitely.
January. Nobody likes exercising in January. Start now.
Yeah. It's so true. Like trying to get me out on the bike in January is impossible. And then the moment the sun comes out, I'm like, I want to go on my bike and enjoy the sunset. I cycled through a market the other day, and I literally felt like I was in Notting Hill. Like the music was changing each stall. I was like, yeah, loving it. And then I nearly crashed into a passerby. I'm like, yeah.
No.
So I'm not a good cyclist,
Yeah.
by the
No,
way.
you're just sun
But, you
drunk.
know,
You're
but
sun
it felt
drunk.
fun. Sun drunk, exactly. Oh, Ali says, thank you, love your patterns. We all do. I
Oh,
mean, you
thanks,
do
guys.
such an amazing thing for this community. You
Oh,
really
hi,
do.
Adrienne.
Yeah. Oh, hello. Oh, it's so nice to see everyone. Okay, well, I will leave you to your Sunday. What are you up to today?
I've got sewing on a deadline. I've got a
Oh.
project. I can't talk about the project because I actually signed an NDA for a sewing magazine. So I've got to finish that
Wow.
and do some blog posts and get some photos done and then post it to the magazine all before the 1st of May. And that's also when our next bit of building work starts. So this has been fun.
Oh. Are you still on the boat then?
Yeah. Oh.
Amazing. So you've got all that equipment on the boat. That's incredible.
Yeah.
It's a big boat.
Sorry, just a peek behind the scenes before we go.
Yes.
So like, there's all my sewing stuff. There's my selfie light.
Wow.
And then in here, so I'm in a little sewing cave. I can't go too far because I've got the phone plugged in.
Yeah.
Like that's on the corridor. Sorry, that's the door there for the new room that we're building. But, yeah, you can see my, oh God,
That's
you can see
so
my treadmill at the end there.
exciting. Yes. Amazing.
Yeah.
God, that's really impressive that that's all on your boat. So good luck with the new building work. Good luck with the don't talk about it sewing pattern. Obviously, if you tell us, you'll have to kill us, so we won't ask anymore. Oh no, we've lost you. Are you there? Okay, well, I'll say to everyone just quickly while Melissa comes back that thank you so much to Rainbow Fabrics for sponsoring Quick Unpick. And oh yeah, you're back. Good timing. And thank you everyone for watching. Are you there? Yes. Oh, Melissa. Okay, well, at least we got to the end. Thank you so much for joining me, Melissa. It's been so lovely catching up with you and hearing all your news. And yeah, good luck with everything.